Good evening, folks. Just out here checking up on the ladies and the babies. Sometimes not too much of a baby anymore. I'm up there's getting my drink. And Big Papa over there going up the hill there by himself. This will probably be his last year working. He's getting too heavy. He's well over 2,000 pounds, and he is just getting too heavy. So I've got an 18-month-old. He's somewhere over there in that area. He's probably down in that little ditch area where you can't see him from here. But anyway, that's just that's this year's obviously there. But anyway, been mowing today. Mowed here, mowed around a lot, mowed the yard and everything, and that takes a couple hours to get all that done. But on to what this is about is the dating aspect of 50 plus, or maybe 50 and down to 45, somewhere in that area. I like to include that 5 below because it kind of is what it is. So if you were born in 80, it'd be 81, so it'd be close. But folks, if you're dating or you're trying to, let's just say that and be fair about it. The one thing I want to say to the ladies, the number one thing I want to say is if you're trying to date in that age frame, and you're in that age frame, and when I say this, I mean that you are of this age, between 50 and 60, or 60 and a little above. Understand, remember back when we were in our teens, in our early 20s, how many times did you go out with a man then, or a young man back then, that didn't pay for everything that whole night? I'm going to be honest with you. When I grew up, that's the age I'm in. Only time I can ever remember was maybe a girl paying a couple bucks for McDonald's, or a couple bucks for something at the movies or something like that. Never a full meal, unless it was like my birthday. I'm just take that back. My birthday, stuff like that. A vacation when I was married for my 30th birthday. My birthday is in July, hotter than blue blazes outside, and especially in Las Vegas. I appreciate the fact of it, but who wants to go to Las Vegas at the 1st of July when it's 100 and some degrees and it feels like it's going to melt the soles off your shoes? I don't drink. I didn't drink then. I don't smoke. I don't gamble. And I'm with my wife. So what am I going to do out there for 3 days other than just kind of see things? See around, look around. It wasn't the first time I was there, but I just think we could have went somewhere else better if we were going to go somewhere for 3 days. Hell, I would have just stayed right here in the state and went to some place for 3 days over the weekend. And it would have been just fine with me instead of going out there and feeling like I was going to melt before I got back in. But I appreciate everything that she did, though. I appreciate the fact that she tried to do something like that. But ladies, please, for the love of God, please quit making videos telling men, I don't need you for your money. I don't need you to pay for nothing. I don't need you to buy me this. I don't need a man for this, a man for that, blah, 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 blah. When you know that you're sitting here deleting, every time you open your mouth, you're deleting another however many men that's available. I mean, that would be worthy of going out with. I mean, you ought to remember back, men didn't let women pay for stuff then. Now you go by and you see a young girl, she's out pumping gas in her car, and the dude's sitting in the driver's seat looking at his phone, or sitting in the passenger seat, or in the driver's seat. She's pumping the gas, and he ain't even. I don't understand that. There is no way, because if we'd have done that, guys, how many on here would tell me if we did that in our hometown growing up, and any of our friends or our father's friends or anybody like that knew us went by and seen that, we would be getting made fun of for the rest of our lives for that. Who's with me? I know I would be. My dad would stop. He would stop and tell me, get my you-know-what out of that vehicle and pump that damn gas. All right, what's wrong with you? Your legs broke? And tell her to set her butt back down in the vehicle and get his lazy butt up and get doing something. I mean, and if I'd have had a sister, that would have been what she'd have had to live with too, because my dad was just like that. He was old school. My mom was too. My mom was even worse about it. Do I think chivalry's dead? It's on life support. That's what I think. It definitely is. Because I don't know of anybody that opens car doors. I don't never see it. And I'm around a lot of places. And I work part-time at a funeral home sometimes that has a lot of people. And the only people I see opening doors are people my age. Anybody out after that, they get in and out on their own. And the woman's dressed up and not even attempting. I open doors a lot because I am a director and an embalmer. So when I'm working a service, which usually don't happen too much anymore, it's usually just a same day service. Might be a couple hours visitation before burial. Very seldom do you see a man that walks a woman to her seat. And here's the crazy thing. I hold doors open for people, no matter who they are. Men, women, whoever. That's the way it is. I've had more men tell me thank you than any woman, no matter what age. I've had some women look at me and give me the old slat eye, what I call it. The old side eye, kind of like, who do you think you are? I'm just saying. I have to. That's my job. If somebody says something to me, I just laugh it off and go on. And I've had people make a snark comment. And when I say people, I mean a woman. And you know what woman I'm talking about? From about 30 to about 40, mostly. Them is the ones that has the problem with it. Sure enough. And people's like, well, Gen X raised Gen Z. Yep. Some of them were just exactly right. I'd have had a older Gen Z son if it would have been meant to happen. Lost a son. He was between 4 and 5 months old. And the girl I was going to marry a long time ago had a car wreck. It's in a video back. And lost a son and her both. He had been 33, almost 34 years old. So it is what it is. You know, just a couple of days ago was the anniversary. Well, not a couple. Seems a couple already, but yesterday was the 6th anniversary of my mother passing. That was the last family member I had, direct family. and it's been a long 5 years of Alzheimer's, dementia. And I'm seeing this with another related to dating. At our age, folks, it's supposed to be for better and worse. Am I correct? It's not anymore. It's to my convenience, and if you're not convenient no more, then be done with you. That's not going to happen. Especially when you get set in your ways. We all are. Guys, you guys all know we're all set in our ways. I am, you guys are, the ladies are. That's why they're saying these things in the videos. That's why they're getting turned down for dates. Because they're set in their ways. They've done this for themselves for long enough that they don't, that's what they want, seemingly. But you can't expect a man that's a good man, that wants the right thing, to date you. They're not going to do it. It's going to be what it is if you want to do that, but I don't have to explain that either, because we're old enough to know what I'm talking about. So, you don't want to do that either, you say. But what do you want? If you want a man that's a respectable man, you're going to have to let him open your doors. You're going to have to understand that you're going to have to work out something, talk, communicate, and not be so quick to jump to, I don't do this, or I don't need that, or listen and talk about it. And men, the same way. Because if you've been single for a long time, I have been. And I'll be honest with you. So, ladies or men, if you're going to try this, make sure you communicate with each other. And have your do's and your do nots already to explain or to say, and mean it. Don't flip-flop one way or the other. If you're going to make it that way, stay that way. And don't get into the relationship and say, well, this ain't what I want. Well, then you should have talked about that before it got serious. I'm just saying, if you're going out on a date, go out on a date. But women, don't tell men. And if you want to work it out where you pay for your own food and he pays for his own, or you go to a coffee date or whatever it is, make that very clear before you even meet. That's a must. That is an absolute must. Make it clear. And don't do it in a way that's going to be putting someone down, the other person, man or woman. Just don't do that. I mean, it's people don't like to be talked to like that. You don't. Nobody does. Especially when we get the age we are. We're done set in our ways. And the man probably don't need your money. You don't need his. Just, that shouldn't be a factor. It should be the fact that you're looking for something else besides that. You're trying to get a common ground with someone. So do that. But don't be abrasive about it. Because men or women, they don't, when you get this age, you don't want that in your life. Sorry about that. Had an important call. But if you're going to try the dating pool again, you're going to have to be open to a lot of things, folks. If that's what you want. And if it's not, stay out of it. Because it ain't going to do you no good. You're just going to waste your time. And now, this is what I want to say. So if you don't want about the dating, that's all the information I really have at this point. You got to communicate. But I will say this. If you, man or woman, and you have been single as long as some of you say you have been, and you've been single that long, you've been single for a decade or half anyway. That's what I've been seeing on some say. Then you either going to have to accept that you're going to have to communicate and not say, I'm not going to do this or I'm not going to do that. Make it a softer landing, so to speak. I understand you want to make yourself clear on both sides, and that's what you should do. That's what I agree with that. But say it in a way that where you're not trying to sound like you're angry about it, because nobody wants to be like that. Nobody wants to be around somebody like that. And I'm going to say this: if you've been single like that, and I have been, it's like she's not. I won't see her again until no telling when. She might call, she might not. So, but I'm good with my peace and quiet. I'm good with being here by myself. As you can tell, this video, you hear nothing. You might hear cars in the background that's a half a mile away. You might hear a plane go over or something. I'm standing here right now, and literally, honestly, and I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but I could be standing here buck naked, and there ain't nobody gonna see me. Unless you come over in a plane. And I've never seen this. I've never seen anybody fly a drone over here. I've got one that we use for this and to look for baby deer when we're mowing hay. But I'm just saying, it's that private here. And you can hear all you hear is bugs. And it's loud to me. That's how quiet it is here. Quiet. It's just dead still. I like this. I myself like this. I like my peace. I like my quiet. People say, aren't you lonely or something? There's a difference in being peaceful and lonely. There's a big difference. Huge difference in being peaceful and lonely. Guys or women, if you're truly good with yourself, you feel that. If you're not, then you haven't accepted it yet. I accepted it a long time ago. I like my peace. I don't like to be pushed. I don't like to be rushed. Life is already way more busier than we all want to be. I've lived the most busiest years of my life. What I do now is what I choose to do or what I have to do to still make a living. Because I can tell you right now, this old boy right here is not wealthy at all. The most wealth I have is laying right here in this property that was left for me from my mom and pop. They bought in the early 60s. It was supposed to be me and my brother, or maybe passed down to my child or my brother's child. That's it. That's it. My brother didn't have any children. I would have had 2. Didn't work out. That makes me know that it worked out the way it was supposed to. Not one, but twice. One resulted in both dying. And then the other resulted, it just didn't work out with it. And it's sad. So if any of you ladies or men on here that have had children, have lost children that way, I know how you feel. It's a feeling that you can't put your finger on, really. They weren't here yet, but they were. And I'm going to leave it at that. But folks, if you're going to date, treat it like you would want to be treated. And don't expect nothing you wouldn't do yourself. And all thing I can say is please, please, please don't get on here and demand things and you're trying to use this as a platform. Because if a man finds out you have this and it's on Facebook, a man's going to look at your Facebook first thing. I'm going to tell you, I'm the man. I'm going to tell you that. We're going to look at your Facebook first because everybody's got one. The ones that don't is either a really, really private, good person or there's something they don't want you to know. So, it can work either way. And that goes with men or women. But people are going to check your stuff out. And if they see you on here ranting and raving about stuff like that, that's a done deal. And I'd say that goes both ways. And ladies, I want to say this one thing to you. You and you alone. Men don't care about this. Men have never cared about this part of it. Of what you got and what you don't have. Again, going back to that. They don't care. As long as they find something in you that they like about you. Or that they want to pursue. Ladies, there's a lot of good men that you've passed over in your life. There's nobody's fault but your own. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say it ain't, because it is. Because you put him in the friend zone. For some reason, another, there's thousands of reasons that you could put him in the friend zone. But a man that you put in the friend zone, or a man that you look down upon, because you didn't think he had enough of this or that or whatever. But he has a good heart. And he would do anything. And would probably take a little bit of stuff that most men wouldn't take. You've passed a lot of them in your life. Because you thought you could do better. And now you're in your 60s. And you've done been there once, twice, 3 times. And it's failed. You're the common denominator. So, not trying to make you mad, but I'm just going to tell you. Anybody, man or woman, if you've been married 2, 3, 4 or more times, and it's never worked out, it ain't the other people's fault. It's your fault. Because you're the common denominator. There's no way you could pick 4 or 5, 3, 4 or 5 bad people. And date them for long enough to know better. I'm just saying. Just saying. If you don't like it, I guess you just don't like it. But just understand, a good man is good with his peace. You find a man that's quiet and don't mind being alone, that can cook, that can do his own whatever needs to be done. He's done all right. He can keep on doing all right. That's the one thing I'm going to stress to you the most. That if he's all right now, before you, he's going to be all right with or without you. Don't pass up the good guys that's still left, ladies, if you're really looking for it. You're not getting any younger. Every second clicks by. Time is not your friend anymore. Not anymore. You can forget it. Time is not your friend. And with that, I'm going to close it up and say, I hope you got something out of this. If you didn't, I'm sorry I wasted your time if you watched, but I'm just going to say that and leave it at that, that if you passed that many times on people, man or woman, it's your own fault. So, got to be more open-minded, folks, and check things a little bit closer than what you do, and don't begrudge somebody of everything, or you might as well hang it up. Thank you for watching. Like always, God bless.